The fifth crisis is known as the marriage crisis. And, this is another big shocker. May 6th, probably the richest man on planet Earth divorced. And how could someone so rich, yet their marriage got broken, yet someone so poor, their marriage got stronger? That's something I've been thinking about, and I'd rather take this topic out and speak to you openly about it. And how many of you are okay for me to talk about marriage crisis? It's a very tough topic to talk about, and of course all of us got different opinions. There's first of all, there's nothing like right or fundamentally wrong, but it's better to take it out in the open to talk about it. And the reason why I want to talk about it, because on this week, I was going to take my board of directors photos arranged by my company, by the company I sit as a director. And it was shot at a bridal shop. So the lady was like doing some makeup on me before the photo shoot, and was just chatting with her. And then she told me that, first of all, I asked her, how's business? Are there more couples getting married? Then she tried to put on a strong face. Yeah, more couples are getting married, but there are more couples getting divorced. I say, oi? How come you know there are more couples getting divorced? They say, yeah, her friends, the people she hang out with, they start talking about marriages breaking down during this period of pandemic. Because pre-pandemic, couples have their own space. They can move about, they can travel to different countries and just, have an outlet. But right now with this lockdown, they are confined within the same space over a long duration of time. Then that's where cracks will be more obvious, and, in the harsh environment, that's where relationship break down. So I want to talk to you about this. And I hope you are fine with that, because this is very real. Especially with today's announcement that there will be another 1 month of lockdown. So 3 things I want to share with you. Number 1, I was previously serving as a prison counselor for 2 years. And in one of my last trip to the prison, I walked to each of the prisoners and asked each of them individually, do you have a prayer request? And in fact, 3 of them separately told me, Clemen, I'm very afraid of getting out of the prison. I'm going to be released next month. I say, well, that's a great news. This is the moment you're waiting for. Why are you afraid of getting out of the prison? He said, I don't think I can, my family is ready for me to be back yet. And after exchange with the prisoners, I went to ask around, hey, is this a real problem for prisoners going back home? And it is actually a real problem because of the lockdown. Once they are back, there are more cases of abuses, more cases of couples splitting, because you are in a confined space. So let's address the root of the problem, which is real right now for the next 1 month. All of us will be locked down in our confined space, no matter how big your house is. Right? You still have to walk here and still have to meet each other. So I thought of 3 things that I did that I want to ensure that my marriage stays forever, right? Stays strong. Number 1 is you need to find a space that is separate between you and your spouse, where you all can work separately within the house. Whether one is a storeroom, one is in the living room, one is in your own master bedroom, you have to find your own space where separately you're doing your own things. Whether your spouse is watching Netflix or you're playing your stock market, doesn't matter. But that space, that little space apart in a 24 hours time period is important. Number 1. Number 2, then since everyone need an outlet, right? Because you just have to find an outlet. So my outlet, let me tell you, is what? The guy is right now eating something. My outlet is actually my cat. And you see this little place here? Can you look at where my finger is pointing? He's literally sitting up there watching me all the time. All right, right now he's just hungry. He went over to take some food. And my outlet is just spend time with a real living thing. Just cuddle or just play with the guy. I found my little outlet. This is my pandemic cat. I got this cat since the pandemic started. And number 3 is, I want to show you, and I'm going to ask you a very disturbing question. So let me put this out so that we address it openly. And this is called the 7 deadly sins. All right? So I'm putting out this article in front of you. You can search on Wikipedia. But I'm going to pose it as a polling question. Because of the 7 deadly sins, let's take a look at them here. Right over here, there's 7 of them, right? So number 1 is lust, number 2 is gluttony, number 3 is greed, number 4 is sloth, number 5 is wrath, number 6 envy, number 7 is pride. All right? So I'm going to prepare the polling question and your vote. And this has everything to do with our marriage. Which is the most potent of the 7 deadly sins? All right, so please go to wisdom right now and answer this question. Which is the most potent of the 7 deadly sins? Now, our passcode, as we send our email to you, in order to get to wisdom, is 48888. So I say again, our passcode is 48888. So that's 48888. That's our passcode to enter wisdom. So go and vote right now. I give you 1 minute. Okay, time's up. Thank you very much for taking part in the polling. Looks like pride is the all-time favorite among our students. And for the 7 deadly sins, I want to share with you the one I encountered. Really, seriously, it's like, oh my God, 10 years of my life I got involved with it. It's not pride. It's actually envy. And I want to talk about it and to use this story to relate back to the idea of a marriage crisis. All right? So you guys can see the results, and let me talk about this. You know, I've been teaching for about 20 years already, and unfortunately, at one stage of my teaching, you know, there's one student who suffered from the sin of envy. He envied me so much that, you see, from the 7 deadly sins, what I'm trying to tell you is which one will result in the person taking action, taking steps, whether it's positive or negative, all right? So my conclusion of the matter was that this particular student took the step of envy. And, you know, he went around damaging my reputation, saying bad things about my family, about my children, and it was so terrible, right? And when we found out this is the guy who, you know, just go around putting everywhere about nonsense about me, and then, you know, I unfortunately have to take one step, that is to go after him. That thing lasted about 10 years. And 10 years started from envy, it went on to pride, where the guy just refused to budge. And at the end of the 10 years journey is that, you know, he lost many things in life. And all I want to do is get a fair verdict out of it. And what I understand about 7 sins is that when you start looking outwards, oftentimes you feel with envy. And for me as a public person, I face a lot of people who are very envious of me. Some of them envy me positively, like most of you here tonight, because you are willing to come back and learn from me. Some of them envy me negatively. And it's like I just teach 3 days with my heart out, and they will just say very nasty things about me. And I mean, it's not like many of them, like 1 or 2 weirdos. I call them the weirdos. So envy is always the poison that when you look outwards, you start turning to negative. And that's why in a marriage, please, number 1, do not ever compare your wife with someone else, or your husband with someone else. Oh, that guy is so successful. Oh, this lady is so caring of the children. When you start that envy, oh my God, that's the first step of downfall. Then number 2 is pride, which most of you identified. But for me, I identify envy is the first sin that is a cause of marriage breaking down. Number 2 is pride. When it's time to say sorry. And for guys, let me tell you, you just have to say sorry. Right or wrong, we are always the one saying sorry. All right, that's the role of the guy, to say sorry. And that's the pride that you just have to eat it. And my house rule is my wife is always right. That's why that's my house rule. My wife is always right. So these are the parts that are difficult, and I want to bring out into open to share with you, because the 5th crisis is very real for the next 6 to 60 months. Why? Because more and more countries will be in lockdown situation and really locked down in our house. And I've given you the 3 steps. Number 1, please find private spaces between you and your spouse. Whether one is on the table A or the other one is at table B, just private space. Really private space, just separate within the house. Number 2, go and find an outlet for you. You are my student. Your spouse is not my student, but you are my student. I'm telling you the steps. Whether you keep a fish, grow a plant, keep a cat, something that's alive that you can play with. For goodness sake, go and buy one fighting fish, only cost you $4. Alright? Or go and keep a plant, go to the garden, pluck some plant and plant it and see the guy grow, right? So play something that's alive. That we need to engage with something. So my alive thing is my cat Tabby. Every day run up and down just to entertain me. And number 3, be aware of the 7 deadly sins. These sins are real, that's why it's documented, and the movie was made after it. And that's the reason why, of the 7 sins, I think the one that's the most potent of them all is envy. Please do not envy other people who are better off than you, more well off than you, or whatever. You do not know where they came from. I can tell you, as your teacher, I went through hell to arrive where I am today. I'm still going through the ups and downs of life. All right, so do not be envious. And the golden rule in the house is, my wife is always right. So this, I think, is very important. And I shared with my coaching student, the secret of it all is who you hang out with. One of our coaching students asked me in our last session of the coaching class, oh my God, this guy just jumped over. He just asked me on my coaching class, what do I think about Bill Gates having a divorce? And my answer was so straight and blunt. I hope I don't offend any one of you today. I believe his marriage was designed to fail in the first place because he was surrounded by friends who are all divorcees. His best friend is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett went through a divorce, right? So who you hang out with will have a direct impact on how you're going to conduct your marriage. And that's why be very, very careful. Very, very careful who you hang out with. So I make sure that, even like I have friends who come from different churches. We are part of this like cell group that we are accountable to. All of us are married couples. All of us got children. Like average child count is like 3. One then got 4. So we come together and make sure, we see healthy couples around us. So I think that's the best advice I can give you. Be very selective who you hang out with. If you hang out with a friend that always every night out there drinking, you end up being drinking with the guy and your marriage will break down. All right, so it's like that. So I hope I finished the 5th crisis, and all of you don't look at me so solemn. I know your marriage sucks. Give me your happy face. Oh! Okay, I'm just joking. Your marriage is great. I bless your marriage. I hope all things is well. And the 5th crisis shall never happen in your household. All will be well between you and your spouse. You all will be happily married ever after. And that's what I pray for you, all right?